You are listening to KQBH 101.5 FM, streaming at lpfm.la, Los Angeles, California, 101.5 FM, a community service of the Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory, broadcasting live on your FM dial and streaming on lpfm.la. You are listening to Uncharted Realms here at KQBH. I'm your host, Walter Flores, joined today by frontman of Baroness, Dyer Baizley. Did I get that correct?
Yeah, Dyer Baizley. That's exactly right.
It's a pleasure to have you here. I believe you just finished Austin, Texas, correct? For your YourBaroness Tour.
We did. Yeah, we were in Austin, Texas 3 days ago, and then we had 2 days off in getting out here to San Diego.
Yeah, and then I believe you guys are going to San Diego, and then Oakland is next, and then Sunday, March 27th, you're going to be here at LA at the Echo.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. One of the things I do want to ask is definitely something I noted the difference between your Golden Gray tour is that you are focusing on the DIY, approach to the YourBaroness Tour. I just wanted to know, how's the reception been so far from the fans that, now we get to choose what songs from your catalog? Like, how's that been so thus far from the YourBaroness Tour?
It's been great. It was so the full truth of it is that we did leg one of this tour in late 2021, and that took us basically all around the East Coast and the Upper Midwest. And in preparation for that, and then again in preparation for this tour, we've had to go back into our our back catalog and make sure and relearn 60, 70 songs in order to be prepared for this tour, where our audience gets to vote for a certain portion of our set list. So I think it's been really fun for us because as you may or may not be aware, this band has undergone several lineup changes over the years, and I think that one thing that happens is with each lineup change that happens, some older songs kind of get put up on the shelf, and so this past couple months of preparation for this tour has given us, or we really needed to go back in and make sure that all of those songs which we had maybe we thought we weren't going to be playing much anymore, we've had to make them. We've had to learn them and get really good at them, because on any given night we need to be able to play. Let me back up. We played the top 10 most voted songs in our set, and the set that we're playing on this particular tour has three portions or three sets. There's the set A, which is the 10 requested songs. Set B, which is 2 or 3 acoustic songs that Gina and I perform, and then set C is kind of whatever we want to do, and just what we feel is a good collection of songs to sort of round out the night, so that everything that we do as a band is on display during the 2.5 hours that we perform each night. So it's been really fun, because we've learned that there's a handful of songs that we really probably haven't had regularly in our set list for 5 or 10 years that are really, really great songs. And so now, I think the exciting thing is we get on this tour the opportunity to play those songs for our fans, but then moving past that, those songs will now become part of our regular set list moving forward. And I think that's a very exciting thing, because we've always taken great pains in this band to make sure that all of the songs that we do play, we've made it a point to play as many songs from our back catalog as possible. So this is just pushing us, pushing that idea into high gear, and I think it'll be really fun over the course of the next couple of years to be playing some of these older songs, some of the songs off of Red, some of the songs off of our really early EPs, and some of the songs off Blue more frequently on tours. So it's really cool.
Yeah, and then you mentioned that I believe Gina joined around the making of Golden Gray. So I would have asked her this, but I guess I'll just ask you. How have Gina, Sebastian, and I believe Nick, how have they been receptive about learning songs from the older catalog? Because I know you've been the only constant in the band, but they're playing songs that either they've never played with you in the production of the prior albums before Golden Gray. But how have they been enjoying playing like your earlier work, or sorry, the work from early on?
Yeah, no, I think everybody, I think it's been a hugely positive thing for all of us, because one thing as I said before, we've always tried to avoid this, but one thing that can happen to bands as they tour is it's pretty easy to get locked into playing your strongest material, the material that the fans want, the material that has the most, like, let's just, for instance, that it has the most listens on Spotify or the most views on YouTube, or some metric like that. But I don't think that's what I think a genuine touring live act does their audience a huge disservice by sticking to those songs. And furthermore, to your point, when we as musicians get stuck in that rut, we sort of lose our, it can be easy to lose your enthusiasm for things because you're just sort of going through the motions night in, day in, day out, playing the same small group of songs. Again, we've always tried to avoid that, but the idea of this tour has really blown that out of the water. And furthermore, I think what the other guys really like about doing that is it helps us as a unit and as a group. It helps us understand where we are today more by giving everybody a view of where we were in 2005, where we were in 2007, where we were in 2009 when we put out Blue, where we were, at all these different stages in our career. Becoming familiar with the material from that era it only helps us as a band in the present to perform, and it only helps us as a band in the future to create new songs that have new songs that are Baroness songs. And it's kind of a cool way for me to reinvigorate some of the older material and bring it to fresh stages and fresh audiences. But it's also been awesome for the other guys in the band to learn through playing our music where we've come from and what we've done. And I think there's really no downside to it at all. It's just been a really cool thing. And on this tour, the set is a long set, and because of the nature of the tour, we find that the vast majority, or maybe exclusively in the audience, are real diehard, true Baroness fans. So they sort of expect and demand that the set list is broad and diverse, and hopefully not just the same songs that they've seen us play 5 or 10 times the past 5 or 10 times we were in that particular town. So yeah, it's just awesome.
Yeah, because I definitely wouldn't be surprised that in larger cities, especially like in Los Angeles, you're going to get the big hits. Like, I know Yellow and Green and Purple were big for your band, but I'm attending the show on Sunday at the Echo, and I definitely chose a lot of the stuff from Red Record and Blue Record because it wasn't just that album that I like. It's everything I dove deep from the EPs and everything. So one of the things I would want to ask definitely about that is one of the things I do recall was that you have a big emphasis on the DIY punk rock ethos. So how has the Your Baroness tour been reflective of that thus far?
Well, I think it just, simply put, that is very much the mood and the vibe and the tenor of this tour. Is it's in small venues, which means you're not going to come see us in like a big, corporate type venue with overbearing security and all the sort of weird trappings that those larger venues get. So you're already seeing us in a smaller, sort of more punk rock kind of venue. But then because the venues are small, because this is in many ways the smallest room that we can possibly fit ourselves into, we've had to streamline a lot of things with our show. So it's really the four of us on stage, we've got a couple crew members, and we build the set from scratch. We build the stage and the set from scratch every day in these type of clubs that we just honestly haven't played for the better part of the past five or 10 years. So it's got, I think just because you're, if you're in the front row, you're 6 inches away from my face, it's got a different kind of energy. And there's not, we're not doing things with 10-foot barriers all the time, and there's not a huge light show. Not that we ever did that anyway, but the production is very much designed just to be almost like the crowd is part of a band rehearsal in a way. We talk to our audience. We're there to communicate with the people that have brought us back out on the road. And we're I think in this time after the pandemic and everything, we're also very grateful and very respectful for the people who've paid the ticket price to come see us, because they brought us out of 2 or 3 years without work. And so we're trying to do something in this sort of communal way, in this in the way that I think that the punk rock and DIY community works best, which is very direct communication between the artist and the audience. Hopefully in some cases so much where there's really not as much of a difference between the two. Like, we're on the ground, we're playing, you're not going to hear the PA, you're going to hear us, because you're so close to our amps. You're going to hear our actual amps, you're going to hear us breathing and talking and singing, sometimes over the PA, because the room is so small, it's so intimate, and it's so cool like that. So I think that's something that we missed from our earlier days. As you get bigger, unless you make an effort to go into clubs like this and play shows like this, you're never going to experience the audience like that again, because the stages get bigger, they get taller, the space in between the front of the stage and the audience gets wider, and eventually you can get disconnected from that sort of exchange of energy that we as artists and our audience have. And I think it's really important for us to feel that again, because that was always one of my favorite aspects of touring in the early days, is just the physical closeness between the band and the audience.
Yeah, so in regards to like that closeness, like, have you definitely felt, especially with the pandemic and everything that's going on currently in Ukraine, like, have you felt that kind of cathartic sense come out of the fans that they're like 6 feet, or if not just like right in front of you guys, like you just feel like that sense of energy, especially because I've noted it on your live streams whenever you guys post it up on your Instagram, at YourBaroness. Like, I definitely sense that energy, like, just no matter what city you guys have been going to, especially starting from like East Coast, moving up all the way over here. Like, have you just felt that, like, that energy just consistently throughout the US?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like every single night. I think that is the beauty of this particular tour, is we've designed the show that is meant specifically to create that environment where the energy exchange is reciprocal from band to audience and back and forth, whereby usually within a few songs it just feels like, I don't know, it just feels like you're playing in a living room almost, for your friends, and the kind of participation that happens there can really push and drive us to perform in a more intimate, more unique way. And I think it's something that we can definitely learn from and move forward. When we move back into the venues that are more reasonably sized for us after this, I hope that we retain some of that energy. And I think I think anybody that sees this tour they're going to be confronted with that cool closeness immediately. It is really good. It does really make the show better.
So in regards to just like because I believe you guys are going to finish this tour on April 16th. Or what are your plans after the tour ends? Are you guys going to go back to the studio, take a break? Are you guys looking that far ahead, or just kind of going right now, just day by day, city by city?
No, I mean, we're definitely, I don't think we're looking for a break anytime soon. We've already had a break. It was way too long. We were off tour for far too long. It's a long, honestly, that's the longest I've been off tour since I began touring in the late 90s. So when we're done with this tour, whatever studio work we can be doing, because we have a home studio, whatever, you know, we record in our own studio, whatever work we can do in between the end of this tour, and we've got a couple US festivals followed by a big summer in Europe. Whatever we can squeeze in before that happens, we're going to do. But I think that our fans and everyone can expect that we will be busy and active and release not only touring, but releasing, you know, coming up with new releases and as many shows and as many tours as we possibly can, you know, for the foreseeable future, because that's what we love doing. That would be the case anytime you ask me that question. And I really, you know, I genuinely hope that that's the case now, because it's not, it's very challenging to have this sort of global thing happening where I feel like the music industry is we are the last people in line that get to behave normally in a professional capacity. Meaning, as you know, anytime these virus flare-ups happen, and anytime the pandemic rears its head in a significant way, we're the first industry that has to shut down, because it's not honestly, it's not responsible to be touring in the midst of a raging pandemic where everybody's getting sick. We have really had to like take great strides in the past, you know, over the past 6 months to figure out the way to tour responsibly. Now that we are touring responsibly, and now that we are seeing, you know, our fans coming out and supporting at the shows, now that we are feeling that catharsis, both we and our audience, both now that we are sharing all of that with one another, we do not want to stop. Obviously, we don't want to stop doing that. We want to push we want to push back into, you know, year-round touring and, you know, in a more regular release schedule than we've been able to have for the past few years.
And one of the things I did want to switch gears with is it's just a question that I was just curious about, which is throughout the albums from all of your Baroness like releases, like the main ones like Red Record all the way to Golden Gray, you've used the feminine in your art. I was just curious for if you have any plans yet, or is it just still in development about, are you still going to use the feminine form? Because and I will speak very kind of personally, I appreciated just like how it's evolved over the years, but you did mention that Golden Gray will be the last, I guess, you know, albums based off colors, but will you still use that as a recurring theme in your artwork for the albums?
Well, I don't know how directly I can answer the question because I haven't created the next piece yet. But I think that in the same way that as the band has an audio identity with hallmark sounds, I mean, let me say musically, when we create a song, there are things that happen no matter what. We don't try to put them in our music. We don't, you know, it's not through an effort of will or in any way meant to like appease the audience, but there are things we do musically that become our sound. You know, that I think if you're a fan of ours, you'll pick up on certain types of melodies or you know, a certain harmonic existence or certain types of rhythms that sound like us, you know, that we've been using for years and years. In the same way that visually I have, you know, a sort of language that I use, and it's kind of like certain aspects are just words and vocabulary terms that are comfortable for me and unique and or specific to me. So I think that we're not looking to change ourselves. That's never been the issue with the band. What we're constantly looking to do is to grow and to evolve and to adapt to the present while respecting our past. So I think that there will be some surprises in the near future as we get closer to a release. There will be some surprises, but there still will always be a sense of familiarity, and that may be familiarity in the way that there are these similar sort of characters or images that grace the album covers. So I can't really say yes, there'll still be a strong female form, but there probably will be, because that is something that I identify as being specific to our album covers, and it's something that comes naturally when I begin making the album covers. So yeah, there probably will be. You know, again, we're never going to be at a stage in our career where we say, okay, forget everything that we've done. Here's our new thing, and it's way different. We're just trying to reform into something different. It's a matter of evolution. It's a process of growing, and that means that you incorporate new things, new images, new sounds, new textures, but you don't forsake the things that you've done before, because they are a critical, important part of what we are as, you know, as a musical and as a visual outfit or whatever. You know, the art that we make is supposed to grow, and it's supposed to expand outwards, but it's never supposed to forget or overshadow or erase what's come before it.
Yeah, and speaking of the audio component about the album, which is obviously like the biggest part of Baroness, obviously.
Sure.
I know, I believe Sebastian, he does his side project Publicist, with more techno, and then you got Nick, who was obviously influenced by Anthony Jackson growing up. You know, will we see kind of aspects of them kind of bleed into, you know, the new Baroness tracks? You know, like will we see,
always,
you know, Nick play the 6-string? You know, because I know in I want to say Throw Me an Anchor, there's a little bit of like a little digital kind of pixelated kind of drum intro, but will we see more of that from Sebastian in the upcoming Baroness tracks?
I mean, yeah, well, specifically, I don't know if I can say yes, but more importantly, because the next record we release will be the first record we've ever released with a lineup, with the same lineup that the former record had. Every other record has had a change.
Yeah,
we're now in a position where, you know, each of our members can begin to contribute more and more of what's unique to them to our sound. And so yes, I think, you know, in the way that Nick has a certain background and Seb has a certain background and Gina brings, you know, her musical background to the table, all of that will become more and more present the longer we play music as a 4-piece.
Okay. I think that's about all the main questions I had. I only had a few for some of the bands, but I think more or less it got covered. So you guys are playing tonight at San Diego, and then I believe you guys are going to go over to Oakland, and then Sunday, March 27th, you're going to be here at Los Angeles at the Echo. John, it's been wonderful to have you here.
Tomorrow we're in Anaheim.
Oh, Anaheim. I do apologize. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
In Anaheim. But is there any last words you want to say?
No, not really. I just would like to express thanks to you for interviewing me, and you know, now that if anybody's listening, I want to thank our fans for being so supportive over these past couple of years, and more specifically over these past 2 tours, these past 2 YourBaroness tours that we've done. We have just seen time and time again how friendly, supportive, caring, and respectful our audience is, and it's a tremendous thing for me to have played music, you know, in this band for now nearly 2 decades, and to have seen such great people in our fan base. You know, I really have always said that we genuinely have extremely nice fans, and it's just right now that means so much to us. So thanks to everybody who's been part of this, tour, and who will continue to be part of our touring election.
All right, thank you so much. This has been John Dyer Baizley. Oh, I'm so sorry. Trust me, I mispronounce names all the time. John Dyer Baizley of Baroness.
It's all good.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.